EnglishLab.com, and in this lesson we're going to talk about the present simple tense. Now this tense is probably the most basic tense in the English language. If you're learning English, you will first learn this tense. In this lesson we'll talk about where to use the present simple tense and how to make sentences. All right, so let's start. Now, the present simple tense is used in four main ways, and we will talk about all of them. Now, the first way that we use this tense is to talk about habits or routines. That is, things that we do repeatedly. For example, I drink black coffee every morning. This is true. I drink black coffee every morning. I think it tastes great. But this is something that I do every morning. That is repeatedly. So over here I have a timeline. Let's say this is the past. It's yesterday, the day before, etc. This is right now, and this is the future. So when I say I drink black coffee every morning, each of these is an action. So I drank black coffee yesterday. This was this morning. I drank black coffee. Tomorrow I will drink black coffee, etc. This is a habit for me. Now here's another example. Carlos plays basketball once a week. So once again, Carlos played basketball the week before. He played it last week. He played it this week, and he's going to play it again next week, etc. So when we use the present tense to talk about habits or routines, remember, these are repeated and regular actions. All right. Now, the second way that we use the present simple tense is to talk about situations that don't change. That is, permanent situations. For example, we live in Tokyo. Now, of course, this might change sometime in the future, but I don't expect the situation to change. So it's kind of like this. We live in Tokyo. Maybe it started sometime in the past, but I don't think it will change in the future. I think we will continue to live in Tokyo for 10 years or 20 years or any time in the future. Here's another example. Sonia works at Google. So that's her job. That's what she does, and she's not going to change that. Of course, it might change, but we're not concerned about that. But this is a situation that does not change. Right? The present simple tense is also used to talk about facts. A fact is a truth about the world. For example, cows eat grass. Now, this is always true. Cows always eat grass. They used to eat grass in the past. They eat grass now. And cows will eat grass in the future as well. Okay? So it's kind of like this, where it was true in the past and it's going to be true in the future. It's always true of the world. So this is a truth or a fact about the world. In this example, the sun rises in the east. It will always be true. Now you can also say restaurants serve food, and that's a fact. Right? We also use the present simple tense to talk about feelings and thoughts. For example, I think someone's at the door. So I hear the doorbell ring, or I hear someone knocking on the door, and I say, I think someone's at the door. Now for verbs about feelings or thoughts, we don't really care whether it's now or whether it's general. Because whenever we have a thought or a feeling verb, we use the present simple tense. So for example, in number 8, my daughter loves chocolate cake. So there's a feeling verb, love, and I use the present simple tense. Notice that in this sentence, I am thinking right now. Okay? But still, I am not saying I am thinking someone is at the door. That is wrong. Because the verb is think, and we use it in the base or the present tense form. There are other verbs about thoughts and feelings that we use in the present simple, like agree, disagree, understand, know. And feeling verbs like, love, hate, prefer, want, etc. For all of these, we use the present simple tense. All right, now, if you look at all these sentences, you will notice that some verbs have S, like plays, works, rises, loves. But some verbs don't have S, drink, live, eat, think. Why is that? Well, let's talk about that now. All right, here I have two charts. The first chart is for positive sentences and the second is for negative sentences. Let's talk about positive sentences or statements first. Now, the first thing you need to do in present simple tense sentences is look at the subject of the sentence. The subject is who or what is doing the action. If the subject is I, you, we, or they, then you don't add S to the verb. So for I, you, we, they, or any plurals, we just say live, have, do, eat, etc. Now, in our examples, I drink black coffee every morning. The subject is I, so the verb is just drink in its present tense form without any S. We live in Tokyo. This can also be they live in Tokyo. Or it can be a plural, like Jim and Jane live in Tokyo. Jim and Jane are two people, so because it's a plural, we still use the verb in the present form without S. Cows eat grass. Cows, plural, more than one cow. So eat, no S. I think someone's at the door. Again, the subject is I. This can also be you. So you think someone's at the door, for example. Now, if the subject of the sentence is he, she, or it, or any singular noun, then we add S to the main verb. So lives, has, does, eats, etc. So here, Carlos is one person. Carlos is singular, so Carlos plays basketball once a week. Instead of Carlos, we can also say he plays basketball once a week, or she plays basketball once a week, etc. Sonia works at Google. Again, Sonia is one person. Instead, we can say she works at Google. The sun, there's only one sun, so the sun rises in the east. And in this last example, my daughter is a singular noun, so my daughter loves chocolate cake. So remember, for I, you, we, and they, and any plurals, don't add S. For he, she, it, and plural nouns, for singular nouns, add S to the verb. Okay, let's now talk about making negative sentences in the present simple tense. Okay, to make negative sentences in the present simple tense, there is a rule you have to follow. Let's take a couple of examples. Now, in this first example, I am a student. You see that we're using the verb be here. Am is a form of the verb be. Now, if you have be, then it's really simple. You just have to add not to the sentence. So let me come over here. I can just say, I am not a student. I am not a student. But what about if you have another verb, like live, eat, etc.? Well, in that case, you can't just add not. I not live in Tennessee. I live not in Tennessee. That doesn't sound correct. That's because you have to add not to the hidden verb or the helping verb. Now, in sentences like these, there is a do, and that do is hiding. It's hiding between the subject and the verb. So you have to find that verb and you have to add not. So if the subject of your sentence is I, you, we, or they, you simply add do not before the main verb to make it a negative. Now, when we speak, we don't say do not, we say don't. It's very natural to say that, don't. But let's look at some examples. Over here, I don't drink black coffee every morning. I don't drink black coffee every morning. I drink green tea every morning. Okay? Or over here, we don't live in Tokyo. We live in New York. This can also be they don't live in Tokyo. Or it can be any plural noun. Jim and Jane don't live in Tokyo. Because remember, I, you, we, they, we use don't. That is, do not. In example number 7, I don't think anyone's at the door. I have changed someone to anyone because when you're using it in the negative, you have to say anyone. Okay, that's for another lesson. Now, if the subject of your sentence is he, she, it, or any singular noun, then you will say does not to make the sentence a negative. Why do we say does not? Now, you remember that for positive statements, for he, she, and it, we add s to the verb. He lives, she works, etc. When you make negative statements, you still have to add s, but we add the s to do, and we make it does. That means there's no s in the main verb. Over here, live, have, do, eat. Again, over here, live, have, do, eat. So no s, because the s is added over here. Does not. When we speak, we say doesn't. Doesn't. Okay? So here are some examples. Carlos doesn't play basketball once a week. He plays basketball once a month. So Carlos doesn't play basketball. This can also be he doesn't play basketball or she doesn't play basketball. Sonia doesn't work at Google. She works at Microsoft. Again, you can say she. She doesn't work at Google. In these examples, I have not made any negatives because they don't make sense. If you say cows don't eat grass or the sun doesn't rise in the east, grammatically it's correct, but those aren't very common, so I'm not making negatives here. But over here, my daughter doesn't like chocolate cake. My daughter is a singular noun, so my daughter doesn't like chocolate cake. All right, now we're going to do a test to see if you can use the present simple tense correctly. On the screen, I have 8 sentences, and I'd like you to fill in the gaps with the correct verb from the box. If you see a plus sign, fill in the gap with a positive verb, and if you see a minus sign, fill in the gap with a negative. Now pause the video and think about your answers. When you're ready, play the video and check. Alright, let's look at the answers. Number 1, Peter eats a lot of vegetables. Number 2, my mother doesn't live in New York, she lives in Seattle. Number 3, I don't like chocolate, but I love ice cream. Number 4, Kim told me that you go skating every Sunday. Number 5, water doesn't freeze at 0 degrees Fahrenheit, it freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. Number 6, Sangeeta's parents are both teachers. They teach science. Number 7, we visit California on vacation every summer. Number 8, they don't have 2 sons, they have 2 daughters. Okay, how many of them did you get right? Let me know in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I have lots of great new lessons coming for you. Until next time, happy learning.